Hello YouTube, welcome back to Flight Sim World and welcome to the first add-on for Flight Sim World, the JustFlight PA-28 Arrow III or the PA-28R Arrow III. Now if you're looking at this and thinking, hang on a minute, that looks a lot like an aircraft that's already in Flight Sim World, you would be correct. It looks a lot like the PA-28 Cherokee. It's the same class of aircraft, however, this is a bit faster, this has a longer range, this has retractable landing gears, and more importantly than any of that, this thing comes with a 131 page manual and a 30-page operations performance data chart. So it's pretty well done. Now, in this video, what I'm going to be doing in, well, this video and the next video, we'll be taking a look at this particular aircraft in as much detail as I can show you guys. It's going to be pretty tough because there is a lot to show on this, and I've only been messing around with it for about 35 to 40 minutes. We'll start by looking at this arrow up here. You guys may have noticed this arrow. This arrow is... basically, we've got a toggle power switch here. We've got a checklist here. We've got a tow hook, which let me show you. If I press this over here, you can actually tow this aircraft. There you go. You can see it. Tow there. So we've got all sorts of weird stuff that can go on. So you can tow this aircraft. Let's actually get rid of that tow hook. I don't know how to get rid of it now. There we go. Do that. So yeah, we've got all this weird sort of stuff that can go on. We've got a flight computer here. We'll go into this a little bit more, but it's really the checklist I want to pull up because the checklists show you how in-depth this aircraft is. We're going to get this aircraft started, of course, as soon as we can. The checklists are a little bit big, but that's okay. What I am going to show you is... let's see. Tell you what, let's... Ooh, I can't really move around with these checklists on, though. We're going to actually get rid of those checklists. Opening up these locks up here. There's two latches here to open up this door. And if we go outside and we press 2, we can also open up the cargo down there. Now have a look at that. It's quite well detailed, actually. I'm actually quite happy about that. Let's actually close that again. And we'll close the door in a moment. But just to take a quick look around the outside of this aircraft, it's a very, very high quality model. You know, the metals look right, the plastics look right. There's a decent amount of weathering, it seems, on the aircraft. It looks like a well-used aircraft. There are 11 liveries available out of the box. I'm using a Golf Tango Sierra Golf Alpha, which is this particular one over here. So the G obviously is Great Britain, and that's the registry of the aircraft. And you can see it's very, very well done. It is very well done. But anyway, let's get inside, and we'll close this again. There we go. We'll lock that, and we'll lock it there. Ta-da! All right, we've got this over here. You can see this. It's actually got a decent amount of weathering. That being said, I wish there was like a brand new feel, but this is a very old aircraft. As you can see, look at that GPS unit, the GPS 100. There's no maps, no fancy stuff. That is very, very old, very classic. All of these are very, very classic systems. Very old. You can see it's all weathered. It's got a decent amount of texturing. It shows that it's well worn. It's well used. The newest parts of the aircraft, honestly, looks like these and these buttons, these two buttons here. Everything else looks like it's really, really battered and old. And I quite like it like that, actually. I do actually like it like that. We'll look more into that at some point. Well, first of all, we've really got to get this aircraft started. And I'm going to show you how to start this aircraft. It's actually quite interesting. So, first thing we need to do, check landing gear down. It is down right there. Parking brake set. That's set. There we go. Avionics off. All the avionics are off. Yep, everything is off here. Mixture, idle, cut off. Battery master switch on. Magnetic switches are of course off down here. Fuel gauges, we want to check the quantity of them. They are both full. The annunciator panel, all lit up. Everything works. A low voltage light and all these are working fine. Battery master switch off. Primary flight controls. Let's check the operation. You can just hear those noises. Those noises are taken from the actual aircraft, from real world recordings, which I absolutely love. Check the flight controls. Everything seems to be working fine. Rudder controls are working. Ailerons are working. Very good. All right, we'll go back inside. There we go. Trim, neutral. So, trim we've got... oh, flaps check operation as well. Let's look down. Why does it do this? It's when I've got the checklist up, it does a few weird things. Yeah, they look fine. And all the way up, they look fine to me. Okay. I think it's when I go too far that side. That's what it is. Right, baggage door is closed. That's fine. Trim, neutral. So the trim is down here. And there's a little bit of a trim there. So we'll actually change our view. Not that one. That's one. We can actually get rid of that one as well. Not the radio stack. Not the circuit breakers. That one. To make sure that's neutral. That looks neutral to me there. If I have a look at this. I'm assuming that is neutral. So we'll have to see. Right, okay. Flaps and ailerons we've checked. Wing tips and lights are undamaged. Yeah, this is basically just come out of maintenance. Tie down removed. Fuel tanks we've checked the levels. Chocks are removed. Tow bar is removed. Engine inspection door is closed. Let's have a look. Actually, let's see if we can open that engine inspection door. I have no idea how to open this and never have tried. Let's see. That opens the door. 3 opens something. Looks like. That must be the engine inspection. So we'll close that again. Okay, so that's closed. We can be happy with that. Let's go back up to our... Which one do we want? Pilot view. That one. Make sure that this is... Oh, this... Okay, that is slightly annoying with this, with the checklist. All I want to do is make sure that these are latched, that's all. There we go. Just have to make sure that's all latched. Bring the checklist back up. Oil check level is fine, because the way we do that, I'll show you this. So if we go over here and switch this to auto and then on, we can do that. So we can have a look and we can say recharge the battery. We can check the oil quantity, 7 quarts. Actually, let's refill the oil. It should be 8 quarts. There we go. We've got a full tank. We'll refill the fuel as well. 100% full. Why not? Close that menu. Bring that back down to auto. So that's how we do that. Everything else we're going to say is fine. Stabilizer trim, everything we're going to say is fine. Then next checklist, before start checklist, we've got the brakes set. Yes, the circuit breakers, they're all in. Let me just show you one out. That's out. So right click pops them out, left click pops them in. The alternate air is closed. The propeller is now going to be full forward. There we go. The avionics are off. Fuel selector, select the desired tank. So we're going to go left tank for now. Fuel selector down here. That looks good to me. And then we're going to go for engine start. So we're going to go throttle, 1/2 inch open. So I'd say maybe around 25%. Right. Master switch for the battery, on. Master switch for the alternator, on. The fuel pump goes on. Mixture. Rich, until we see a fuel flow. There's the fuel flow. Yeah, we're seeing a fuel flow there. And then we'll bring that back down. Propeller clear. Starter engaged. So we're going to actually put that full rich and engage the starter. There we go. We are good. Engine's on. We'll switch the magneto selector to both. Throttles we are going to be fine with. We'll hold it around 1,500 RPM. As you can see, it's actually holding that quite nicely here. Oil pressure, check. The oil pressure has come up. The oil temperature is now rising. Fuel is fine. Fuel pressure is absolutely fine. Taxi area we're going to get to in a moment. So, we've managed to do all of that, which is pretty cool. Everything's started. And what we're going to do is this flight that I'm actually taking is the flight that they recommend on the actual manual that comes with this. So that's the reason I'm doing this flight. I've not done this flight before, so we're going to find out if it works and if it doesn't work. Right, so we're good here. Now we can switch on all the avionics. So before we go to taxiing, we're going to switch on all the avionics. So we've got this one over here. Switch that on there. That one can switch on. That one can switch on. That one can switch on. This can go on to on, like so. We'll just leave it squawking. Should we leave it squawking 7,000? Let's leave it squawking 7,000. Why not? This one can go on. We're not going to be using this in this video, but you know, you can have a look at what it's like. So you can see what it's like. It's a very classic system, very old, very old. We'll switch this one on. There we go. I'll show you how this works as well. We'll switch this on into Adf mode, and I think that's all the avionics that are on now. Yeah, I think that is. We're going to switch on the rotating beacon light. We're going to switch on the landing light right now. That's going to allow us to move this aircraft. People around will know what's going on. So I think that's fine. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure that the fuel tanks, it's running with both fuel tanks. So we're going to switch this into the right fuel tank. Make sure the engine's running fine. Seems to be. Everything seems okay here. So we're going to switch it back to the left fuel tank. No problems whatsoever. Right. Initially, we're going to be taking off on runway 8. So we're going to set our heading bug just over here to 080. And again, if you're a little bit confused about all of these, don't worry. Don't worry, because I am going to be doing tutorials on how to fly an aircraft, and this is going to be the aircraft of choice. We're going to be looking at the Southampton VOR. That's going to be the first waypoint on this route. So we need to tune in 113.35. So we'll tune in 113.35, and that's going to be nav1, which is going to be up on here. And the second one that we're looking for, I think, is going to be Goodwood, so which is 114.75. So we're going to make sure that that's in as well, and that's going to be on here. And that will allow me to show you what goes on the DME in a moment. So if we have a look at this, we're going to zoom in here. We've got these three: RMT, frequency, and GST. If we go to RMT, that is monitoring. It's remote. It means remote. So what it's monitoring is either nav1 or nav2. Now that's selected up here. DME nav1, nav2. So if I was to switch this to nav2, that will then be reading the distance to this VOR station that's tuned in on this frequency, which is Goodwood. In this case, if it was nav1, it'd be looking at Southampton. You're going to see this in a bit. If we go to frequency, we can then set in our own frequency, and it's going to tell us from there. So for example, if I do set in 113.35 right now, 113.35 should pick it up. There you go, 30 nautical miles. Now, and if we go to remote, it's not picking up right now because we're on the ground. We can't pick it up, but it is picking up in this. And this is going to be, well, we'll show you what that does in a bit. Once we're in the air, we're going to show you what happens along there. So there we go. We're good on that. Everything seems to be fine. We are good to go. Steering is fine. We're ready for taxiing. Everything seems absolutely fine here. The vacuum pressure. Where's the vacuum pressure? Let's have a look. Oh yes, that's what we need to do. So parking brake set whilst we're on the ground. Propellers are full forward. We're going to bring the throttles up to 2,000. There we go, approximately 2,000 RPM. Perfect. And we're going to now check what the pressure and everything is showing. So oil pressure is fine. Oil temperature is fine. The ammeter seems to be reading fine. We'll press this. The annunciator panel's fine. That's fine. Everything seems really quite good here. What we're going to do is we're going to check the different magnetos. We're going to go to left. We're going to see maybe a 100 RPM drop here. So let's have a look at it. There it is. And back to both. And then we'll try the right one. There's the 100 RPM drop again. And back up to both. That's good. Fuel pressure's fine. Fuel pumps were working. And now we're going to bring the throttle back down. Where is this vacuum? I've seen that before. Oh, there it is. There it is. Right there. So there you go. It's about 4 point... In fact, it's 4.8. It is 4.8. So there we go. Fantastic. Right, we're going to bring this all the way back down. Now we're going to check for any problems whilst at idle. No, everything seems to be completely okay at idle. Yeah, a little bit does bounce around a little bit as it's on low revs, but that's not bad. We're going to bring the throttles back up, actually, to where I prefer to have them. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to taxi to the runway, and that's going to be the end of this episode. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this checklist. Now to taxi this aircraft, it's actually very, very easy. We literally can just, a little bit of power, we'll just get rid of the brakes, just a very little power, and we'll be underway. Once we roll, there we go. Once we're rolling, that's easy. We're going to turn this way, and it's very, very agile, the aircraft, as you can see. It turns so easily, and it picks up speed very, very quickly as well. So again, now I'm right down on the power again. I'm probably not going to have to increase the power much over all of this. We'll turn here. We'll get ourselves on the runway. It is a soft field, so the runway is going to be a little bit bouncy. And we're clear. There's no aircraft around here that are going to be getting in our way. Bit more throttle just to keep us going. Up, up and away. Perfect. Now what we can do, could switch this on, and we'll turn it around just here. Nice shot, turn around. And we'll just line this up a little bit better. There we go. That looks good to me. Okay, now let's have a look at the before takeoff checklist, and we'll actually once we've gone through the before takeoff checklist, we'll get ready to go. So, battery master switch on, alternator switch on, flight instruments checked, fuel selector as required, fuel pumps are on, engine checks are checked, alternate air is closed, mixture has been set, full rich, propellers set, full, yeah, propellers on full. Flaps, we're going to go for 1 notch, 10 degrees of flaps. Controls are free, doors are latched. We're actually going to also switch on the pitot heat and the strobe lights. And that pretty much brings us to the end of that. That brings us to the end of that. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to we're going to take off. We're going to start heading towards our destination, and we're also going to be looking at the autopilot controls, which is they're quite interesting on this. So have a look. That's the autopilot system, and we're going to be having a look at what is available and how this actually works. As well as that, we'll be looking more at the radio system, and then we'll see how this plane is to land. Like I said, I've not actually ever landed this aircraft. As a matter of fact, I've only taken it off once. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Flight Sim World, leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think, and do support me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. I would massively appreciate your support. Stay tuned for part 2 and part 3 of this. Might be just part 2, I'll have to see. And then of course stay tuned for Flight Sim tutorials and more videos on Flight Sim World all around. I'll see you guys next time.